The night was heavy with dread, the kind that makes even the bravest men tremble in silence. Over the walls of Jerusalem, the wind whispered of death. The Assyrian army stretched far beyond the horizon, a living ocean of armor, spears, and banners fluttering in the pale light of the moon. Their campfires burned like 1,000 stars across the valley floor, and the people within the city watched, hearts pounding, as if staring into the mouth of a beast waiting to devour them. The messengers of King Sennacherib had already come, their voices filled with mockery and arrogance. "Do not trust in your God," they shouted before the gates. "No god of any nation has saved them from the hand of the king of Assyria, and neither will yours." Their laughter echoed through the night, a sound that pierced even the hearts of the soldiers defending the walls. Some dropped their heads, others clenched their weapons tighter. Inside the temple, King Hezekiah knelt alone. The great halls of Solomon's temple seemed to hold their breath. Hezekiah's robe was torn in anguish, the letter of insult from the Assyrian king spread before him on the stone floor. His voice broke as he prayed, "O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes and see. Listen to the word Sennacherib has sent to ridicule the living God. Deliver us, that all kingdoms may know that you alone are the Lord." His tears fell like rain upon the parchment. The priests watching from afar bowed their heads, sensing that something beyond human strength was stirring in the unseen world. In the heavens, the stars dimmed. Silence fell upon the angelic hosts as a single presence stepped forward, radiant beyond measure, his wings stretching from horizon to horizon, each feather glimmering like molten gold. His eyes burned with the light of eternity, and his voice shook the fabric of creation as he received his command. One word, one divine order, go. The angel of the Lord descended. That night, while the Assyrians feasted and drank, celebrating their imagined victory, a strange stillness crept into their camp. The torches began to flicker though there was no wind. Horses neighed and stamped nervously. Guards whispered of an unnatural chill in the air. And then, silence. A shadow moved through the tents, unseen, unchallenged, unstoppable. It carried no sword forged by men, for its weapon was the breath of the Almighty. Where it passed, hearts stopped. Eyes froze in terror. Cups fell from hands. Laughter turned to nothingness. By dawn, the valley that once thundered with the noise of 185,000 soldiers was quiet, terrifyingly quiet. The sun rose over a field of corpses. No banners fluttered, no command was shouted, no horses moved. From one end of the camp to the other, death lay in perfect stillness. When the first rays of light touched Jerusalem's walls, the watchmen leaned forward, expecting to see an army preparing for attack. Instead, they saw the unthinkable, an endless sea of lifeless bodies. The enemy who had mocked their God was gone. The same wind that once carried their threats now carried the whisper of wings retreating into the dawn sky. The angel had done his work, swift, silent, and final. Far away in Nineveh, the golden capital of the Assyrian Empire, the throne room of King Sennacherib blazed with torches. He sat upon his high seat, surrounded by carved lions and soldiers in gleaming armor. Musicians played softly, and courtiers whispered words of flattery to their mighty ruler. But beneath the splendor, there was unease. Days had passed with no message from his general, no sign of the victory he had so confidently promised. Then, as the sun began to fade beyond the Tigris River, the palace doors burst open. Dust-covered messengers stumbled in, their faces pale as death. They knelt, trembling, before the throne. "My lord," one began, his voice breaking, "the army is gone." The room fell silent. "Gone?" The king's voice echoed, sharp and cold. "What do you mean, gone?" The messenger swallowed hard, tears filling his eyes. "My king, they are dead, all of them. 185,000 soldiers. We found them lifeless at dawn. No wounds, no battle, no sound of war. They were simply gone. Taken in the night." Sennacherib rose slowly from his throne, his robe whispering against the stone. His lips parted, but no words came. For the first time, the conqueror who had crushed nations and burned temples felt something he had never known, fear. His gods, carved in stone and gold, looked down on him with empty eyes. The same gods who promised victory had been silent when the God of Israel spoke. He clenched his fists, rage boiling inside him, but deep in his soul he knew, he had waged war not against men, but against heaven itself. In Jerusalem, the dawn brought cries of wonder and worship. The watchmen on the walls shouted the news, their voices echoing across the city, "They are gone. The Lord has delivered us. Families poured into the streets, falling to their knees in gratitude. Priests ran to the temple, blowing the silver trumpets in triumph. Smoke rose from the altars as offerings were made in thanksgiving. Mothers wept, clutching their children close, realizing they were alive only because God had fought for them. King Hezekiah walked slowly to the top of the wall overlooking the valley. The morning light shimmered over the silent battlefield, and he felt the weight of divine presence in the air, a power so great it humbled him to the dust. He bowed low, whispering, "O Lord, there is none like you. You have stretched out your hand, and the proud have fallen." Isaiah, the prophet, stood beside him, his old eyes filled with awe. "Did I not tell you, my king?" he said softly. "The Holy One of Israel has said, I will defend this city and save it for my sake and for the sake of my servant David." The word of the Lord never fails. As night fell once more, the city glowed with peace instead of fear. The people sang psalms into the night air, their voices rising like incense to heaven. Somewhere beyond the clouds, the angel of the Lord returned to his place, silent, unseen, but forever remembered. Generations later, the story would still be told. Children would gather around their elders to hear of the night when one angel, sent by the command of God, moved through the darkness and brought an empire to its knees. And each time fear threatened to rise again in their hearts, they would remember that the power that protected them once still watched over them now. For the God who sent his angel that night was not a God of legends or distant skies, he was the living God. The same yesterday, today, and forever. The one whose whisper can command the wind, and whose breath can silence an army.